Hare Krishna. So we have covered P-A-R-E-N. P stands for protection from the glamour of Kali Yuga. A for association guard. R for respect as a culture. E for expectations being realistic. N for narrating stories. And now T. T stands for tolerance. Parenting is about tolerance. Parenting is about sacrifice. So parenting should not get into violence. Nowadays I have seen that sometimes parents, they are at the fall of the hat, they start beating the child. They do not educate the child. Once I went to one of those schools, and there we had the proposal of Gita Sar contest for the children. And as we were having a conversation with the principal, one teacher came with a child, and she said, "Ma'am, I caught this child red-handed. He was in the computer lab. He was watching pornography. I caught him red-handed." And as this child was caught, so the father was caught. So father came to the school, and then father immediately became very angry. He took out his belt, about to beat the child in front of the principal, and the principal had to stop him. She said, every time you only have one solution for the child, just beat the child, doing violence to the child. Is this the way to deal with children? You should learn from these Hare Krishna monks who have come to our school with this Gita Sar contest, so that values can be given to them. They can be educated in right way. But just see yourself. Do you educate your child? Do you inspire your child with a personal example? Do you talk to your child? All the parents, most of them, they are black belt, especially fathers, the black belt. Immediately they take out their black belt and beat the child. But we should know that till the time the child is financially dependent, till that time, the child would tolerate. And as the child grows, then with interest, the child is going to return it back to the parents. We see that nowadays children, they are sending their parents to old age homes or living separately, not getting much bothered about their parents. Many of the cases are because in their early childhood they were being exploited. They were being yelled upon. They were beaten ruthlessly. So when we have this kind of attitude towards children, when we beat them at the fall of the hat without any kind of education, then that's the worst way we deal with children. I know, I have personally experienced my father, who was so loving, so warm, that he never ever raised his hand upon me. During my childhood, I was not so good in mathematics, and my father, he was MSc in mathematics. So when he would teach me, then with great patience he would solve the problems one after another. And then after solving one problem, each of the problem he would say, "Could you understand? Did you understand?" I would say, "No, Dad, I could not understand." "Okay, all right. Next question, next exercise." Again, he would solve the next sum, the next mathematical problem, and after solving it, he would say, "Could you understand? Did you understand?" And I would say, "No, Dad, I could not understand." Next, the history is repeated. Same. So my grandmother, she became irritated. She said, "Well, this man is bull. He cannot understand. He's a donkey, dull-headed, fool number one." But my father, he would say, No, it's okay. He will take his time, that's okay. And then he would solve all the 20 problems in that exercise with same patience, and after solving all the problems with same ease, with same comfort, with same leniency, with same humbleness, with same softness and same concern, he would say, "Could you understand? Did you understand this problem? How to solve it?" And I would say, "No, Dad, I could not understand." And then he would go to problem number 1 once again and solve those 20 questions again. So he would solve those 20 questions 40 times. And with same softness, he would say, "Could you understand?" And I would say, "No, Dad, yeah, somewhat I could understand," like that. So with so much of patience. And the result was that in my graduation, I would teach mathematics to my classmates, my batchmates. And at that time, I would remember my father, he could beat me, but he never beat me. Reason being, he was always very patient with me. He knew that I'm a patient, so that's why he should have patience. And he was having that patience. So at that time, I would have gratitude for my father, my lovely father, who was so patient with me. We have seen the photograph of Mother Yashoda holding the stick in her hand, but we have never heard of any Leela of Lord Krishna with Mother Yashoda, where Mother Yashoda is beating Krishna. That means we can be strict with children, but we should not be violent with children. I repeat, sometimes we have to be strict with children, but we should not be violent with children. Being strict means we can give a stern look, we can have stern voice, heavy voice, we can be very much to the point in our conversation. That ways we can be stern, we can be grave in our communication. But we should never ever be violent with the children. And that gravity in itself is sufficient for the children. I remember my father, although he was very lenient, my mother was very strict. She would have her scale move, but she would never beat us. But she would show the scale. And then we would learn the poems, Humpty Dumpty, everything would go on. Yes, we would remember. So sometimes, of course, some grave exchanges are required, but not violence at all. Because by doing violence, we are putting a subtle grudge in their consciousness, which comes back as they grow, when they become financially independent. So T stands for tolerance. We should tolerate. Sometimes children, they are not fast learners, they are slow learners. But we should be tolerant. It's okay. My child is unique. My child can be maybe fast in something else, but maybe academically is little slow. That's okay. So we should be tolerant. So T stands for tolerance. So now the next letter is S. S stands for spiritual values, which we are going to cover in the next video. Hare Krishna.